Hey everyone, and welcome to another brand new rope for a cue video. This time it's not quite a one-off, but maybe there's probably going to be like 2 or 3 of these, maybe only 2. So this is a brand new exercise. It's not particularly hard, but it's one that my coach gave me again just to practice a bit of positional play, but more to do with getting the cue ball into the centre of the table. And I thought it was maybe one you might want to try for yourselves next time you're in the snooker club. Before we get started though, please take a moment to like the video if you do, and please subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and put the bell on to be notified when I'm uploading. So I'm calling this little practice routine the balls over the pockets challenge, because as you can see by the way the table's set up, the balls are pretty much over the pockets. And just to give you a bit more detail then of how to set the table up for this, I'm going to use my table diagram that I created myself. It's good in it. So to start with then, you want to put, as you're looking at each pocket, you want to put a colour on the left and a red on the right, essentially close to the pocket but not right in the jaws, and the balls don't want to be touching, but they want to be reasonably close together, probably no more than half a ball's width apart, so that they will pass each other but they are kind of obscuring each other. So for example, on that bottom middle pocket, you can't put the blue from the baulk end of the table, essentially because of the, well, partly because of the angle and partly because of the red. So that's how you set the table up. And to start off the challenge, you can basically start from anywhere on the table. You put the cue ball anywhere you like, and you've got to put a red followed by a colour, and the idea is obviously to put all the balls without missing. So let's see how I get on my first attempt. So I'm not going to lie to you, I have actually completed this challenge prior to recording this video, but I didn't actually get it on camera. So this was sort of my first attempt at getting it on camera, but I'd probably tried it maybe 3 or 4 times before this and was successful, I think, at least once. I also struggle to concentrate sometimes on this challenge, so I think one attempt I thought I'd done it, but then when I actually looked at it, I realised that I'd putted a red and a colour in the wrong order, so that's essentially a fail. And I think I've got one of those on camera at some point later in the if this turns into a little mini series. So I always tend to start with that top rail, try and get both those balls in that top left corner pocket. Not the top corner, the baulk end. It's the baulk rail in the baulk left corner pocket there, and then I try my best to essentially get both balls in each pocket, but it rarely works out that way. So here I just try and roll that red in and stay on that. I think it's the yellow in the corner. My preview of the screen is quite small. Let me just make this bigger so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, it's the pink actually, yeah. So I came a bit further than I'd like on the table, so I end up forcing that in a little bit. But I do manage to get this into the cue ball back into the middle of the table. So generally, if you can keep the cue ball in the middle of the table, again, sort of imagine the table split in half down the spots and then split in half, each side split in half again. So if you keep it in those 2 middle portions, you're probably going to do okay. I'm not sure why I took that long red on there, but I did. It worked out okay. The trick is not to try and move the, whichever one you're playing. If you're playing the red, try not to move the colour from the pocket, which I have done a couple of times. And you can see there, I just moved that green slightly to make it in a slightly more awkward position, but still very much potable. But the cue ball sort of stuck in the jaws as well, so end up playing that yellow, and there you see it, I moved that red out into the middle of, essentially in the middle of the table, into It's not unpottable position, but it's definitely much more difficult pottable position. But I do land nicely on this red to the middle. And I would assume here I sort of screw back for the brown in the same pocket, but you can never... I can't remember. I filmed this a couple of weeks ago, so I can't really remember what happened. I'm definitely taking a while to think about it, and obviously I have to get the rest out because I didn't quite get the ball back into the middle of the table as I'd quite like to. And then remember that I hadn't chopped my cue. So all going well. Good job there's not a shot clock on this particular challenge. Maybe that might be a way to make it harder, because I can do this on a fairly regular basis. Yeah, so that's a fail, because I obviously jumped the white off into somebody's pint, which is not ideal, and ended up having to go chase it around the club. Thankfully there was nobody else in. Actually no, there was people on the very top table, so that was quite embarrassing. So what about another attempt? You can see I've already set the balls up. You don't have to watch me to set the balls up again. Just watch for this. See, this one, you can probably tell that I've set the balls up wrong. You can see the two pockets at this end of the table, at the top side of the table, at the bottom of your screen as you're looking at the red should always be on the left as you're looking at the pocket, and you can see on that right hand corner pocket the red is on the right and the blue is on the left. So yeah, so even if I'm successful on this attempt, it won't count. But obviously I didn't know that at the time. So let's actually see how I get on and see if I'm going to be disappointed when I look back at this footage, which obviously I already have. So yeah, back into the middle of the table nicely, pretty much onto the green spot for this red into the corner. And just about managed to get around the pink. I do actually disturb it, but it doesn't go in, so it's not a foul, thankfully, and the pink is still in pretty much a pottable position. So here I'm going to try and get down to... I quite like leaving the middle pockets for the end, so I'm trying to get down to the top end of the table and take this red on next to the blue. Still not realising it's on the wrong side of the table. Yeah, the wrong side of the pocket, rather. So let's see if I can get it in and not go in after it. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a stretch for me. So I do manage to put a bit of topspin and left-hand side on it, so it loops around the blue and sits up nicely, but it is a shot that I'm going to need the rest for. So do I take the blue on or do I take the yellow on? No, I do. I get the rest out and take the blue on. And hopefully, I would assume that I try and stay close to this top cushion for the red next to the green. Yeah, just back out into the middle of the table. And I can, with this sort of shot, I would assume that I would do the same, similar to what I did before, which was try and get behind the green. Pot the red, get behind the green, but without disturbing it too much, so I can then get it into the same pocket. It's just a bit of a tricky shot because I'm right-handed, so it would be on the wrong side of the table. So yeah, so I kind of come a bit too far out, so now I changed my plan a little bit and think I might go for the yellow, but I'm just having a look and see what's happening. But no, I decided to try and get the green in with the rest. I'm not great at rest shots, so this is a bit of a strange decision, but let's see how it goes. Not really sure what I keep looking at. Oh, I even have to get the extension. Oh yeah, that's right, I was looking for the extension. There's a couple of extensions littered around the club. This one's not a very good one. I couldn't find the good one. I couldn't see the good one. I guess it was up at one of the other tables that the other guys were using. So yeah, this is a bit of a stretch, but I do manage to get it in and get the cue ball quite nicely out into the middle of the table. Maybe not quite into that middle half as I talked about before, but still should be nicely out for one of these middle pockets. So again, probably screw back for the brown in the same pocket. Try and not disturb it, and I just do disturb it, but it thankfully comes back off the knuckle and pretty much rests back in the same position, and it's pretty much ideal for me. Hopefully I can reach it. I'm not sure why I'm taking a bit of time to think about this. I think maybe thinking about where I want to finish, because I guess the issue is if I take the brown, I'm probably going to end up back towards the back end of the table, back towards the top of the table. So then it'd be difficult for the yellow, for the red next to the yellow that was next to the yellow. So I end up taking the yellow and try and get back to this end of the table, which I do nicely actually. That's one of my better shots. I tend to underhit those. So here I want to basically just stay where I am, and I basically don't put enough backspin on it and go in after it. So that's the end of this video basically. There's no score to show at the end. But look out for another episode of this challenge, and maybe at some point I'll complete it. Thank you for watching.